All right, folks, we're continuing in chapter 5. Chapter 5, we started yesterday, brought out the uniqueness of Torah study, what we're doing right now. We're learning Torah. What's the uniqueness of Torah study over doing a mitzvah? Actually is what this chapter is going to bring out. Now, we know that God is infinite and there's no mind that can grasp God. Except as we learned in chapter 4, what God did is he contracted on his infinite wisdom and brought it down, like water comes from the top of the mountain down to the bottom of the mountain, brought it down that it expresses itself now in a physical reality, in this physical world, like in Jewish law, right? That if my ox, speaking Talmudic terms and times, right, gored your cow, or if my car did damage to your property. And what is the law? So based on Torah teachings, that the divine will is such and such, when we study that, or if we understand the inner dimension of that law, the mystical dimension, which is what Tanya actually brings out, or in other ways, then what we are doing is taking our mind, grasping the divine wisdom, and we're grasped by it at the same time. In other words, it encompasses me, God's divine wisdom, and I encompass it within my mind because I'm understanding, grasping, and getting it. And what do I have from that? Not only do I understand the will of God and the wisdom of God, but I'm actually bound up in one with him through my thoughts of understanding and comprehending, through my speech of verbalizing it. When I verbalize, as I'm doing right now, right, I am bound up in one with God. Not necessarily do I feel that, and it's not about feelings here. You know, Western civilization, we're into feelings. So, yeah, we should come to feel that, but we're not going to really feel that because it's awesome. Bound up, not bound up with a light of God, not bound up with a mere glimmer and radiation of him, but I'm actually bound up with the essence of God. That's what we learned yesterday. So when I tell you, when I ask the question today, I know now that, please don't say that. I mean, you could say it, obviously, but that would not be the uniqueness of today's class, because I just gave you a review of yesterday's class. Alter Rebbe now goes into giving us, so that is a uniqueness of Torah study over mitzvahs, the grasping of the divine wisdom, because the truth is, and this is something actually of today's class, when you do a mitzvah is the divine will of God. That divine will is beyond understanding. So, what metaphor do we have for that? Well, that was in yesterday's class also. The metaphor for that is that when we do a mitzvah, we're also bound up in one with God. The difference there is, it's a divine embrace. God is hugging me. Divine hug. Divine embrace. Now, the fact that God is wearing garments, the metaphor is the king wears garments, and when you're getting a hug from the king, whether he's wearing 4 or 5 garments, it doesn't take away from the fact that you're being embraced by the king, and you're embracing, right? So the same thing is over here, that God is garbed in the material world, that you're doing a mitzvah of making a blessing on lulav and esrog, or putting on tefillin, giving charity, and all those 248 positive commandments. We're getting a divine embrace, right? By God himself. Whether we feel it, we don't feel it, that's the fact. And that's why we need to think about it, meditate upon it, and recognize that. Now, that divine embrace, though, is, I'm here, the king is embracing me, right? Yes, there's a unity and there's a oneness, but it's not the same as in Torah study. Torah study is even deeper than that. Why? Because it's something that's entering our minds. You know, tefillin is on me. Charity is of me, but it's not in me. So the unity and the oneness with God is encompassing me, but it's not from within. Here the Alter Rebbe gives a beautiful metaphor to understand the uniqueness of what we're doing right now in learning Torah, comprehending it with our minds, with our thoughts, thinking it and knowing it. And of course, also verbalizing it when you share it with someone else, right? So I'm sharing with you. So, what do you have? The metaphor is food. Food is ingested, and it becomes your flesh and blood. It becomes a part of you. When you study Torah, you understand it. It becomes now divine wisdom, your wisdom. Divine vision, now it's your vision. You start seeing the world way God sees the world. You start seeing and understanding, appreciating things from the divine perspective. How come? Because it's not just when you get embraced through a mitzvah, you're embraced, but it's not you. It's the king embracing you. God embraces you in the mitzvah, but it's not you. So have you been connected with the divine when you do a mitzvah? Giving charity, putting on tefillin, lighting Shabbos candles, absolutely a divine embrace. But it doesn't become you. Torah study is divine wisdom. That divine wisdom now becomes like food, ingested, because you get it in your head. Now what you've done in your mind is you've now rebranded your mind, remade your perspective, because now you're getting a divine perspective on things. When you get it, when you understand it, and you think it, and again, verbalize it. So it's like food, it becomes you. Torah becomes you, in the sense that now the divine vision becomes your vision. The divine wisdom becomes your wisdom. That is very powerful. And that's why Torah is called food. It's called bread. It nourishes, just as physical bread and food nourishes the body, Torah study nourishes the soul. It gives vitality to the soul. So many of you thank me every day. I really thank the Alter Rebbe. But you're thanking that through me, you're thanking the Alter Rebbe too. Why are you thanking me? Because your soul's getting nourished. You feel uplifted. You feel full of vitality. Because your soul's getting nourished through Torah study. How come? How come doing the mitzvah doesn't do the same thing? Because the mitzvah embraces us. The God embraces us, the essence of God, through the mitzvah. The essence of God is now within us when we study Torah. And therefore, the Ein Sof light of God becomes our life. It becomes our nourishment. It becomes our vitality. So much so that now God's vision and wisdom becomes my vision and wisdom, and I can see things the way He sees things. So now you might say, well, there's a parallel then. You know, Torah is the encompassing garment that God embraces us, the royal embrace. And Torah is the nourishment from within. The truth is, Torah also has the quality of a mitzvah, because it is also mitzvah. So it has that quality of nourishing me that it nourishes me from within, but it gives me vitality. And that's why when you're having a difficult day, study Torah. You know why? Because it'll bring you to a different plane. Because change comes from within. You know, the guy that comes to the store and he bought a few goodies and he gave the storekeeper a $20 bill, and the goods only cost him $7.55. So he puts out his hand. He says, "Change, please." And she says, I'm sorry, sir. Change comes from within. So that's what Torah does. It changes us from within. Having a difficult day, you study Torah, and you really give yourself your thoughts and your speech, verbalize it. You feel uplifted because you're nourished. It's lifting, and you really feel you're in a different plane, a different place. That's what Torah study does. But at the same time, it also serves as a garment, as a royal embrace. God also embraces us. So because of that, Torah study is, Keneged Kulam, is equal to all of the mitzvahs. It has both qualities of being food and a garment, that royal embrace. All right, folks. I know now that. I think I made it easy for you today. Who can share with me that? And now I got to find how I can get I know now. If you could write in the comments, what do you know that you didn't know before this? Again, knowing what we learned from this class made it pretty easy today. How come I don't see that possibility here? I don't know what happened here. Oh. Okay, give me a moment. I'm trying to figure out what I can do over here. Trying to do something that we haven't done before, but I'm not getting... No. Batya, if you don't mind going off and then coming back on, maybe that would work. And don't comment. Okay? Because when you comment, it doesn't give me the opportunity or the option to bring on camera. Why that, I don't know. My apologies, folks. I'm trying to do something unique over here that we haven't done, and it hasn't been done actually in Chabad.org. We're trailblazers over here. Well, shouldn't speak so too early because right now it's not working. Okay, so Batya, if you don't mind, as I... Oh, okay, David, I'm going to... Batya. Hold on. Hit, you're saying... Okay, Batya, I'm waiting for you to go off and then come back on, and then in the meantime, let me see what kind of comments we have here. Okay, give me a moment. My apologies. This is a work in progress. So again, I know now that. I know. What did I gain from here? In a profound manner. See, Gina says, I know now that Torah is transformative and helps living my best life. Totally. I also know now that not to forget to thank the alternative as well. Great, Linda. Thomas is saying, I'm wrestling with the idea of creation as of creation as the king's garment. I guess I have to unlearn the Greek influence. Some embraces from creation sure feel like kicks, not hugs. It's only when you're doing the mitzvah you get that hug, right? Doing something that's not what God wants, and you're not going to get the hug. Okay. Eugene, I know now that studying Torah accesses divine essence. By doing mitzvahs, we get Hashem's embrace. Okay, excellent. And I know now that reading Torah and doing mitzvahs, I can actually rewire my brain. Actually, rewiring a brain specifically from Torah learning. Yes. Linda, I know now that once I study Torah and comprehend it, then the divine perspective and vision becomes incorporated into me. Beautiful. Wow, you guys are amazing. Look at that. Hannah, I know now that change is within me and that I can have a difficult day studying Torah will give me a different perspective. Beautiful. Okay. David, I don't see I wanted to bring on Batya. Maybe we're going to bring it on through David. Because David, I see I can bring you on. Or I did. I don't know what happened. Okay. I'm going to try something now. David, if you don't mind coming on. It says bring them on the camera. Okay. Can't bring David on camera. Okay. Didn't work. I wanted to bring someone else on camera with me. And to have their input. Okay, so Batya, if you don't mind, no, just come on without making it go off and come on without a comment. It seems that when you comment, you can't come on. I don't know why that is, but so it is. No. Okay. All right, folks. Anybody else? Let's see. I believe Torah is the blueprint for us. Yonatan. Yes, absolutely. Simcha, thank you. And okay, it doesn't seem to be working. All right, folks. Every day we'll try to improve. Tomorrow's another day. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure. You're back on, but it doesn't say here. Okay, thank you, Batya. I don't know why it doesn't allow me to bring you on camera. It seems like everybody that I don't know gives me an opportunity to bring them on camera. So why that is, I don't know. I'll have to do a little more research. So have a wonderful Rosh Chodesh. It's today the first day of the month of Teves. It is Hanukkah, the 6th day, and we should continue the celebration. Tomorrow, to be continued. Have a wonderful day.